Welcome back to the Talk to the Town podcast. I am your host, Nick Cartmel, alongside my buddy, Logan Sheffer. Logan, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great, Nick. I'm excited to get going with our fourth podcast here. Even more excited for our next guest. I'm super excited just to dive into everything creative and just what makes her up. So
Yeah, we do have another creative on the podcast today, but don't worry, we're not going to bore you with a bunch of camera talk and things of that nature. We're going to get into some cool topics today, so let's get the intro out once again. You already know, Logan, you know I got to get the intros going, right?
Nick is probably the king of intros. I'm like, dude, you got to handle seriously.
It's AI driven. No,
we could say that, but we could say it's you. We could just say it's you.
I should do it. No, it is me, but I should do the AI ones.
You probably could. You are like an AI.
ChatGPT.
So, yeah, that's true.
All right. Today we are happy to be bringing on another creator, but in this case, it is an incredibly diverse one. She owns a creative agency known as JRK Productions. She can mix up a little something on the DJ board, and she also has a podcast of her own called Two Nice Girls Talking. And I also forgot to mention, she is also a biohacker. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Jenna Koppinger to the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to add that in after.
On the little soundboard thing, it has the applause thing.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, that little button.
Oh, yeah.
We play like a horse derby race. Like a
Oh,
race
yeah.
sound.
Oh,
Like
okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
For sure.
This
Yeah,
is
we're
awesome.
super excited.
Mhm. Yeah, so me and Logan were talking earlier, actually, and we're just going to start this new little trend, I guess, or just
We're
a
going to start the
segment.
podcast a new way.
So-
Nick is, you can kind of dive
yeah,
into
so
it
we
a
found
little
this app, or well, not an app, but it's a little online question generator, right?
Okay.
So it's just random questions from like Washington EDU. So they're pretty good
pretty
questions, I guess.
legit.
It's not some like weird stuff. So yeah, we're gonna ask you just two questions off the bat. They're
Okay.
completely random. We'll answer them too. Because
Yep.
people might want to know about us some more too. But
bit. Maybe.
maybe, maybe not. But
Right.
so let's just start. Let's go here. All right. So
Random question.
here we go.
generator.
what's something that you learned in the last week?
Oh, tough. So I actually got into conversation with this guy that used to work at Google, and he's been on paid per click. So
Oh, wow.
advertisements where they get paid based on how often someone clicks on it.
Right.
So got in the woods on that, and it's a whole nother world.
Oh, wow.
I'm sure my friends in advertising probably have experience in it, but I was most of my stuff I do is just organic and small business driven. So it's less of these people have budgets that are $100,000 a month,
Okay.
Oh,
and they're
wow.
pushing it at Google, Instagram, Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So that was crazy.
cool.
Yeah, that's super cool. I mean, just the whole kind of advertising world and that. I mean, I took a class over at SC4, but there's so many interesting tidbits you can dive into that. So many things that make that up. So
For
it's
sure,
super
yeah.
interesting.
So, I mean, I'll answer that part too. Something I learned,
Let's see, Nick. See what you
Man.
learn.
I'd say we're going to talk about this later on today, but the Huberman stuff, I've been
know.
it's been more of a deep dive this week. I've been listening to 3 or 4 of his podcasts.
Oh, that's impressive because
Yeah.
they're 3 hours.
I
Aren't
know.
they?
It's just,
Oh,
it's
wow.
so I'm kind of weird for this. Instead of listening to music at the gym, I'll listen to podcasts sometimes.
No, that's
I
cool.
respect that.
Yeah, just because, so I never really listened to music in general at the gym.
Okay.
And then I kind of started for a little bit, and I was like, man, this is just annoying sometimes. I don't know,
Yeah.
it's weird. So I figured, why not try to educate myself
Yeah.
while being at the gym? So something I've been trying to do. But yeah, just learn more about those little biohacks. But we'll get into that later on. Chef, what did you learn last week, buddy?
That's tough. I mean, to be honest, I learned something today. It's more based on photo, so it's not anything too deep, but
Get geeky.
yeah,
Get all
I'll
geeky,
I'll
Chef.
get geeky. But no, basically, I just kind of learned a little bit about shooting in daylight and pairing it with strobe, because I did some headshots today, environmental headshots, and then so I kind of had to learn how to use the daylight as a backlight in order to backlight my subject, and then kind of pair that with my strobe light coming from the front. So I got some pretty good results, but that's just something I learned is there has to be at least some sun in order for me to use my strobe light outside, or else the background's going to be completely
Right. Yeah.
dark. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so
Awesome.
it's just a little.
You'll
nothing
have to
too
show
deep,
me
but-
that. I've never worked with an on-camera flash.
Yeah, no, they're
I think
super
it's fun, though.
it's super. The results you can get are I've just recently started doing it a lot more, and so the results you can get are super cool. So it's super.
Yeah,
fun.
I got to learn more photo in general, honestly.
Well, I need to learn more video, so we can help each
Yeah, it's
other
a good
out
mix
there.
here.
We can help each other out there. So.
Let's do one more here. That's a little bit too deep. What? Okay, here we go. What is if you had like a theme song, what would it be? Do you think? Just about.
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
tough one.
So I think The Office is so funny, but like
Mm.
I didn't like it until a year ago. But there's so many Office mashups that
Yeah.
are like
Okay.
EDM, but like
Yeah.
and I got one as my ringtone.
Oh wow.
So like I think it's entertaining because I only leave my ringtone on if I'm like at my office like alone because like in public I feel like normally I have my phone in my pocket. But like so I only hear it alone, but like occasionally it's gone off. And just now I thought about it, I'm like, is my ringer off? It's kind of embarrassing.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, what are your guys's?
Man, that's tough for me too.
Theme
Because
song?
there's like a lot. It doesn't exactly have to be like an actual theme song from like a show or anything.
Okay.
I mean, I'm big in just. I don't want to get too deep. I am like religious and all that, so probably just some type of Christian music, some type of worship music like that. There's a few good ones to choose from. This Is Our God. That's a good one. Bump to that one all the time. I feel like that would be a good theme song. But
Dude, I knew you were gonna say that because I was gonna say the same exact thing because
Yeah.
I'm also a Christian as well. So I think I'll definitely do like a worship song. I really like I think it's Life of Blessing or something like that. It's a good worship song that I've been listening to lately.
So you guys like took it like super deep and real, and I'm like The Office.
Hey, but I mean that's perfect though.
But
I
I'm
mean,
super religious too, so like
Yeah.
I get what you're saying with the
Mhm.
logic,
Yeah.
but I feel like I have a split brain sometimes. Like
Different-
depends on the realm.
I mean, my walk-up song in high school for baseball was literally Eminem. So like,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
what was
I
my?
mean,
What was mine? Mine was some like it might have been like Little Baby or something. Like
another like probably not the best choice, but
yeah.
whatever.
Or no, it was Migos.
Oh,
Quavo,
Migos,
whatever
okay.
you wanna call 'em.
I
All
like
right,
that.
so let's get into a little bit more about you. So
Mhm.
your creative business, JRK Productions, that's like your main thing right now, right?
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah.
So when I was in like middle school, I always remember seeing a lot of your posts from like Northern and things like
Aw.
that, or just like the Port Huron. You made
Mhm.
some like Port Huron videos, right?
Yeah.
And I always remember your cousin Andrew, he'd be running around school saying, run it, because that was
Oh.
like the theme, right? So we'd
Yeah.
always like correlate that with your stuff, or it'd be like around school, like, oh, new JRK just dropped. So
Aw.
take us through that kind of timeline of your, I guess when you're just kind of starting out, like falling in love with just like
Yeah.
the whole filmmaking and photography, right?
Yeah.
And then where you're at now.
Yeah. It makes me really sentimental because it's like a full circle kind of thing.
Mhm.
Because it was such like a homegrown, like my parents always encouraged me to do, the things I was passionate about, and they're helping me out. And like a couple of my uncles and our friends, they would say, oh, you need this new camera. Let's go on a business venture together,
Oh, okay.
and like small stuff like that. Like my first GoPro I got for Christmas, and I was obsessed with board sports.
Mhm.
All my friends like know I'm very like, I wouldn't say I'm an obsessive person, but I go through phases.
Mhm.
So like at that point I was obsessed with board sports and like skateboarding and snowboarding, which
Okay.
like I still enjoy it now, but it was just like such like a 7th grade phase.
Yeah.
And that's where like the GoPro scene kind of started.
Yep.
That's like the first, at least what I've seen, the first like home video makers were people that were skateboarding
Mhm.
or snowboarding. So I was making like videos of that, and that's why I got the first camera. And then from there it kind of spiraled because it was the same time that YouTube was really coming on the scene. Like
Okay.
home production became cheaper.
Yeah.
So at that point when I looked up like how to be a videographer for a career, like the red digital cameras or like the red cameras that are
Yeah.
cinema cameras were like $100,000 for a whole for the
Oh, yeah,
basis
those are
set.
expensive.
Yeah.
So you're only becoming a cinematographer if you're like on the scene and you get hired in, as like a
Yeah.
young producer, and you probably go to school in California, and then you're making like bare bones, like barely enough to like live basically. But so I kind of grew up on the scene as it was evolving. So that was super cool because like Instagram added the video feature, but not a lot of people made videos. So I was like, I used to just stay on my computer at night and look up like Reddit streams of how to get the right quality.
Yeah.
What's a pixel? Like the first thing that was amazing to me, like how do you get pixels on an SD card?
Oh, okay.
All that stuff. So it was kind of a mix of like the computer side of it, plus the side of operating the camera, plus the editing.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like it was a true lesson in like how to become a learner and how to become a video person, but tied in one. Because I was learning all the new stuff as it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a young age. It was like 9th, 10th, 11th grade. And then the community accepted it because they thought it was cool. Like this kid's making videos,
Yeah.
Oh, we'll call her. And so in the beginning, half the time it's free.
Yep.
So you do stuff for free just to get your name out.
Yeah.
And then people respect it, and then they're hiring me. So I was super pumped because I could have this side job. And in the summer, I didn't necessarily have to go get, an internship or become a waitress or something to have side money. Like I could do these video projects I was passionate about.
Yep.
So like it was all in all like one of my biggest blessings. It was cool to like learn that way, number one. And then number two, have an income from it.
Oh yeah.
Because like I was making videos at Lakeside Beach, where I'd fly my drone by the lighthouse.
Yeah.
And I'd ask my
remember
friends
those.
to come with me, and like,
yeah.
that was like
Like
the
cool
bread and
mashup.
butter. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And it sounds like you kind of took advantage of the market, like as it was, like you said, as it was rising, like you noticed, Instagram started the video feature. Not a lot of people posting videos. Like you started to jump on that. So I think that's smart on your end is like, and I think you can still do that with today's day and age too, even though, the industry is evolving so fast, but just kind of having that go-getter mentality is like, it's so important. Like jumping on, being the first person to jump on things. So like kind of touch on that mentality of like, kind of being on top of your, I mean, you obviously, have a very, very busy schedule, all the things you tackle, but how important is that like mentality of like kind of staying on top of not only the industry, but just like your craft in general as well, and always continuing to learn?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the fun part for me, and that's what's made it easy. Like, I think saying yes, super important. That's one of my 5 pillars, like, of my business is, you have to just jump into stuff and you figure it out along the way.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily an apology, but it's like, if you mess up because it's your first time, and people know it's your first time when you go into it. So like, we just launched our podcast like you guys are doing, and this is just like another avenue of media, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like you guys probably have felt the same way. It's almost just, you have to try it to learn. And if you don't try it, you don't know what'll happen.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't like, and I think the important thing too is like, don't really have like, you can have really like high goals and aspirations, but with it, but like, even with this, like we didn't really have like super high expectations. We just kind of like, we're kind of into it. We're having fun with it. It's for the community. It's for exposure. Like
we have like all the gear. Like why not?
We have it. Why not use it? So like your expectations don't have to be necessarily as high when you jump into it, but as long as you're continuing to get better and trying to push for your goals, that's really all that matters.
And even like in our creative businesses or whatever, or any business, if you don't like start, you'll never know where you're gonna actually could go with it. And you can't be scared of that failure. Like, you can't have that mentality, because growth means change, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Or sorry, growth means you're like learning and you're changing.
No, it
as
does
a
mean
person.
change, because you're becoming better, or you're growing out of, what doesn't work anymore.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I've had so many business failures that like, it hurts, right? Because you put yourself out there, and for stuff to be successful, you have to commit. So I try to commit everything I have to it, and then I look back and I'm like, it didn't work.
Yeah.
And one thing, like one of your failures, I want to be a failure, I guess, but your first Instagram account, right? I think I remember, didn't it get like
it got deleted
or something, or deleted? And now I had all like your main videos. You'd probably gained a pretty huge following on there.
That did. That was one of the harder moments, because I was actually at Michigan State. I just moved in. Okay. And we were doing sorority recruitment. And so like, everyone there looks at your Instagram because they don't know you as a person. They meet you for 5 minutes, so then they look you up. So like, my Instagram got deleted the first night. I went to bed at Michigan State, just moved in. The next day was recruitment. I woke up in the morning and like went on Instagram. Like, I don't know, I was scrolling around and it was gone. So I was like shattered, right? As like a teen, that's like a monumental time. So you're kind of spooked. You just met this girl that you're sleeping in twin beds across from, and you're about to meet like 500 new girls.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that was like kind of a heartbreaker, but I think it's just a blessing, because stuff like that just happens and you just have to move on.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of what what Nick and I have been talking about a lot lately, is just like kind of having that faith and like just and it sounds cliche, but just like trusting the process, that all things happen for a reason, all things happen for a purpose. And like, I mean, your Instagram getting deleted isn't like terribly deep, but it did have an impact on like, you had, like you said, you had a lot of your content on there. And so like,
it's funny you say that, because I wasn't even thinking of that as like a bad moment in my life.
Right.
I think of it more as like, it was like a funny like punk kid joke, you're like, oh, little me that got screwed over for a sec.
Right. Yeah.
No, it's definitely important to just remember that. Like I said, Nick and I have been kind of harping on that a lot lately, especially just with this podcast. Like, we're not, like, there's gonna be failures. There's gonna be times when your audio dies. Like, I mean, it's just the way it is. But if you can kind of keep your head high and kind of keep that mentality of like, just keep trudging on and keep pushing, then it's especially creative, as important as a creative, I think, especially.
For sure, yeah. And so, but kind of back to your timeline there. So you were at college, and then did you continue making videos through there? And then
well, I have to plug James Freed, because
Okay.
my first job ever, somehow I think Mrs. Frazier, who was at the Economic Development Association, she had talked to me on Facebook, I think my Facebook page, and was like, let's come have a meeting. Like, you should meet James. They want to do some videos. So I remember walking in, I had never had a job. Like, I did shredding in my mom's office, but like outside of that, like that was when I was 13. Like, I didn't have a job. So I'm like 16. I just got my license, and I walk up there and I was so nervous. And he's like, basically we negotiated and like set on an hourly salary to make these videos. And he just hooked me up. Because it was just a lot. It was nice for him to have me in his office, like to set this up. He didn't know how it was going to work. And that video today is still one of my most viewed videos ever. Like we had 900,000 accounts reached. I just checked it before I came on because I figured we might talk about it. Like, so to get almost 1 million views, it just, number one, showed the capacity of like the town to take on, because our whole theme of the content was feels like home.
Okay.
So everyone can relate that lives here, because we were showcasing like the best parts, right? The Michigan summers, the beautiful water, the monuments, the town. And then from there, it was like, it's just the capacity to take a chance on doing stuff, you know, and if you see talent in someone, as minimal as it may be, you know, to try new projects that may have not been done before. So that was exciting.
That's so important. Like, especially I know for my business, and I mean, all three of us can attest to the same thing, is like, when people actually take a chance on you, especially if you're a young creative and like you're just starting out, it makes all the difference. Because I know my business personally wouldn't be growing the way it is now if I wasn't doing my friend's senior portraits, if I wasn't doing like, if I wasn't shooting my aunt's wedding, or like if I wasn't kind of getting all of that, like all these photo sessions like that my friends and family helped me with. Like, I can't tell you how many times my mom has like posted on Facebook, like, you know, it's just amazing. And when people actually, you know, nurture your business at a young age, it's just amazing the amount of like help it can get if you give to you. So
I feel the same way about my family. Like, they've always shared everything. And it's cool. That's like another thing I try to remind myself. It's so simple for my friends that are starting businesses to just share their story. Or like literally share it on the story. Like on the Instagram story, right? Because you reach, like, some of the reaches are 2,000 people. Like, people that used to run businesses in town would run a newspaper ad. Right. And like with an optimal goal of reaching 2,000 of target audience or whatever it is. So it's kind of crazy.
One thing about that reach. So one of the big things right now is like Instagram Reels, right? The way you can kind of plug in like different audios, and so they can go a little bit more viral. So like one of your latest Reels was the Outer Banks one. That was sweet.
Oh, thank you.
That was so cool. But how, I guess, important is that, just kind of adapting to this whole like new Reels and using like audio like that? How is that? How important is that for businesses?
My tips for business owners is use trending audio, number one. And anything like 10,000 or under, because it hasn't seen the whole trend through. So you're going to get that many more people to click through on it. And then the second is just to stay true to your audience. So like, don't feel like you have to be someone else on social media. People like to see your real story. You know, they like to get a tour of your restaurant.
That's awesome.
And you don't have to come in and hire somebody like us to come do it. Like, you can take a jump and try to do a video on your own. You know, spend the extra couple hours, then realize how long it takes, and then call us.
That's true.
But like, you do need to get into it just to see, because maybe you can do it on your own. You know, maybe you have some downtime and maybe you can stack some content up. But it just does make a big difference, because it's almost the new website, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it's,
even like for our stuff, it's portfolio wise. Obviously, we have like our own websites for portfolio, but I think more of my stuff is on my Instagram. Honestly, it's all right there, right? You can just be like, hey, shoot you over to my Instagram instead of navigating through my whole website.
And I think there is some, like, I know personally, and then, you know, going to art school, there's some controversy surrounding like social media being your portfolio. And then like actually having a portfolio. But I mean, I kind of see it from both sides. Obviously, yes, you should have a professional portfolio. You should be, you know, showing clients like a professional website, stuff like that. But I mean, the stuff you post on Instagram, not only is it going to reach a lot of people, but you can really get like, not only are you getting personal as an artist on Instagram, but you can kind of show your true self. And sometimes that's what clients, not even sometimes, clients want to see your true self. I know you recently posted a video on short form media, and like, that interaction with clients and becoming your true self as a person is so important nowadays, because people really, especially small business owners, they really want to have quality over like quantity. And I know that's something that's important to you, and it's important to all of us as well. So it's just,
we always say stories sell.
Yep.
So like the
Okay.
story sells regardless of what you're selling. A lot of people sell their personal brand now, right? And they're selling themselves as like someone people want to work with.
Yeah.
Number one, because they trust them. Number two, because they like the story or maybe they know them. But like you have to know someone to trust them.
Exactly.
That's what I've been trying to, I want to dive a little bit deeper into is just on my like business Instagram.
Yeah.
Just showing my face a little bit more, showing me like talking to like just the audience more, and maybe like growing a YouTube channel out of it or something, just to, like you said, kind of hit more at home with like your clients and everything like that.
We just want to take a quick break here. Want to thank Mark Bynum, the mortgage man, for allowing us to use this wonderful space inside of AmeriFirst Home Mortgage Building. Again, thank you, Mark. Anyone who is interested in any sort of home mortgage, make sure you contact Mark today for all your mortgage needs.
Yeah. So, I mean, after the kind of the Port Huron stint and we did some campaigns and stuff, I went to Michigan State and I was excited and I knew I wanted to scale business. So I didn't necessarily just want to be a sole creative that produces like a certain level of work and can't scale. So I kind of focused more on finance and tested like my interests with blockchain and computer science. I didn't do like a full-fledged computer science degree, but I did more applied stuff. So I was like working with different applications and then I stumbled on blockchain technology. And that was like one of my second like peak interests. I started doing that. COVID hit, I left and I ended up with an internship with this blockchain company that spoke in my class. It's a startup. And they've been great. Like I worked with them for almost 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And it was a little bit of video in the beginning because it was a startup. So there was 5 or 6 people. So I was trying to help like any way I could. And then I moved into sales. So I was doing a lot of their back end initially. Also before sales, I was doing like some of their investment diligence and stuff. So I had experience in like, I wouldn't say it's investment banking, but it was like fast paced and a little bit of M&A. We were acquiring companies and then we were also like trying to go to market with this new tech product. So that helped me a lot on the business side. I think more than I realize now.
Right.
And then I just kind of, I wouldn't just say I got bored because it was always interesting, but I just knew like I felt so compelled to do something else.
Something was like missing kind of.
Yeah. Well, like I felt like a calling. Like, I don't know, like people don't, it sounds dramatic until you feel it like that.
Yeah,
for sure.
But
I've
like,
had them, I mean.
I definitely felt like that. You know what I'm talking about? Then the experience is weird. Like I definitely felt off, like something needed to change in my life. And I remember like one day just being so frustrated and I was like pacing, like without a phone. Like I'd been thinking so long, like what needs to change, I wanted to do something different. And then I was finally like, I just need to quit. I just need to do video and it'll come. Like it'll work.
Yeah.
And my people around me, like both my parents are business owners and they like have experience and get your backlog of clients, take 2 or 3 months. Like they called me on the phone like together and I was on the other phone and they're like, no, like we're concerned. Like
really,
you need to slow down for a sec. Cause I was like, I'm very impulsive and I think that works a lot. Like you run and gun and you figure it out later.
Yep.
But they were like, you need to get your steps in place. Cause like this is like a big leap. Right.
Oh yeah.
And then my boyfriend on the flip side was kind of like, do it. Yeah, do whatever. Cause he knew how unhappy I'd been. And they knew too, but they just had the logical side of it.
Yeah.
And he's logical too, but they were all like, you're going to be able to do it. Just like it's a matter of a month difference.
Right.
So I kind of like met him in the middle, like took a couple weeks, and I definitely wanted to finish off what I had been doing there because I was so passionate about it. And it wasn't anything wrong with the company. It was just like, I knew what I should be doing.
Oh yeah.
So I left there in February and then I kind of came back and I had been doing this, like, this is my 10th year with not with the LLC, but like making videos.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think I'm going on my 7th year with the LLC. So like I had the basis of the company. It was just a matter of really commercializing it for that scale. So going into this next chapter of the company, it's more focused on telling the story, taking on clients that want to be communicating with their audience consistently, more so than a one-off. But we do love telling like effective, 4 or 5 minute stories if it's like a one piece that someone needs.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we like to be in the business once a month and we do an hour to 3 hour shoot.
Yeah,
and then we produce the content for the month from that shoot.
Oh, okay.
So we're trying to be efficient for the business owner. May that be, a lawyer, a restaurant, a realtor, a candy shop, whatever.
Okay.
If maybe you're starting yoga and you want to become a yoga influencer, like we could do 10 videos a month.
Yeah.
That would help you and give you that, professional look.
Right. And you can schedule those out, right? Like when you shoot them and then just have them all batched out and then just throw them onto a schedule, you're set, right?
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
'Cause
Yeah.
I think sometimes too, like the way you're describing it sounds just a lot more convenient and efficient because I feel like sometimes too, small business owners can try and be like, okay, we have this vision, like what we want, but we're going to meet like 3 times a week and I'm going to have you shoot this day and this day. But like, if you can like Nick was saying, if you can batch all those videos and like, hey, we're gonna come in and do like a 3 to 5 hour shoot, and you're gonna have all the content you need for the month. Like,
Yeah.
that's just way more efficient. I mean, you're saving time, you're saving probably some money, and like, I mean, it just sounds like a great gig. So I think it's definitely heading in the right direction. And then I also wanted to touch on like the aspect. So would you consider yourself some sort of like an aspect of like digital marketing, like in terms of, obviously you're creating content through like film and video, but like what aspect of like, I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting from your company is like a digital marketing kind of company. So I want you to kind of touch on that a little bit, aspect of like the marketing role and how you connect with the client, and how you like, really the thing I'm interested in is how you connect your guys both of your guys' ideas.
Yeah.
And how those kind of meet in the middle. Like,
yeah. No,
so
I mean, it's hard to understand, honestly. Like, agencies in general are confusing because people do so many different things.
yeah.
We consider ourselves a creative agency.
Okay.
So by that, we mean we do full-fledged photo, video, and we work with the client to get their vision initially. And that's kind of like the onboarding.
Okay.
So we'll normally I love being in a place. Like, I don't like Zoom calls. I don't know about you guys.
No, I don't.
But like,
either.
I love connecting with people, seeing their facility, seeing their restaurant, getting into like the woods of what they actually do.
Okay.
Mhm.
So then we can, number one, see if it's a fit and see if this is the right style of marketing that they should do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go from there. So it's really just video and photo focused. And then it's the delivery that's the question mark. So depending on their budget, we can do full managed accounts.
Okay.
For any business, but then we can also do smaller scaled down stuff where we just do the content production and then we deliver it, like those 10 videos, and we help them get a schedule set up, but then they manage their schedule. So they'll do the copywriting. And then we're recently getting into more paid media. So clients that have those big budgets that might be spending like between 50 and 80 grand on those Google stuff. So they're doing paid per click and they're taking a product to market. We'll work with them and do the full-fledged paid ad. So it's more call to action focused.
Okay.
So we might make an ad. Let's say we're highlighting a restaurant, and then at the very end, we're like, come on in today, book your reservation here. And then we include the link. We have the full copyright, and that goes on different channels with the paid aspect. So it's not necessarily organic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell through just this conversation that like you actually care about your clients and you actually
Yeah.
want their business to grow. So for me, I see some small business open, like we haven't mentioned this yet. We're not like pros at this by any means.
No,
you know,
me either.
Yeah, seriously, like
All
we're just
discretion
interested.
advised
Yeah.
to the viewers.
Yeah, we're just interested.
yeah,
Like, I mean, seriously, it's
But things I've noticed with just some people, like if they're just chasing after the more money side of
Yeah.
it and not so much like actually caring about your clients, that's, I feel like when businesses just fail,
Yep.
right? Or they get into it for the wrong reasons. So what do you think are some things that or what are some mistakes that you think people will make when they're like, oh, I'm going to open this business? They think they're like the head honcho, right? They're
Yeah.
going to make all this money, all this, they're going to have all this time. So yeah, what are some, I guess, mistaken ideas that people have when opening up their first business?
I mean, talking to like the 20-year-old us or like the 17-year-old us, I think it's organization, but I think it's also speed. So like we said, like you don't have to be first, but you have to try and you have to go at it like full fledged.
Yep.
And you can't care what people think, but you do need the organization aspect, right? Like you need the legality. You have to get your expenses, your revenue in order, like make sure you're ready for your taxes because that comes around and then you realize you're grown up and you're like,
I don't know about that one.
yeah. Yeah, but I think that's the first realm. But then like the other for already like standing businesses or experienced business people, adapting to new technology, I think it's that message. So like we said before, I think websites are now social media. I think you should have a great website, but you also need great social media. And it needs to be more than just a couple pictures posted a month. And then I think it's like a lot of people underestimate the power of like humans on site. So like hiring great staff. I think Casey's does a great job of always having like happy people.
Yep.
They have a ton of staff. You're never waiting. That's important, like the experience.
Yeah.
And then it's the hours. This is so underestimated, but like people don't go on Google and change their hours
Yeah.
and then they're closed and people get frustrated because they try to go to the place.
Oh
For
yeah.
sure, yeah.
That's happened to me before
Yeah.
too. I know it's like, I mean, you're playing on set. I go in there, you get there like it's closed, like so it's disappointing.
You have like
Yeah.
your full menu item checked out.
Yeah,
You
you
have
already know
everything
what you
ready. You're like, oh, I'm gonna get this and
Bring
that.
your whole family, like No, it's
Especially worse when you gotta like drive like 30, 45 minutes.
Oh,
You're stuck
yeah.
in like Shelby or something. You're like,
Yeah,
I gotta
seriously.
go get some McDonald's.
I think it's
But-
overlooked. And I think like the open signs too. I think branding and signage is
Yeah.
sometimes overlooked
Mhm.
because a great experience, you know, with hospitality, but also a great experience with like atmosphere and colors can change
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
a lot, right?
Oh yeah, for
Mhm.
sure.
Have you guys been to the new Renaissance Man?
Oh no, not
I
yet.
don't think I have.
All those places downtown, I gotta go in and check out like the
Yeah.
Wrigley Center in general. I still haven't like been fully in there when it's like fully done.
Yeah. The
it's
whole
beautiful, yeah.
facility is amazing. I just
Oh, yeah.
was at the Renaissance Man and it was so good. They killed the branding. The
Mhm.
coloring's great. You know, all the wait staff has on like outfits fit to the realm. So the
Oh,
basis
wow.
is like Prohibition era.
Yeah.
And then they have the distillery where they create all the cocktails in house.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
it's super
wow.
cool. And that's something like that's unique to bring people to.
Unique,
yeah.
uniqueness is so important. I feel like
Yeah.
too. One of the restaurants I really want to go to, I forgot the name of it. It's like when you go and all the like the waiters and waitresses are like super rude to you or whatever. It's
Oh, I've seen
Oh,
know,
that.
I'm
I've been
talking
there.
about.
I've been to one of those before.
I
It
want to
was-
work at
it
one of
was-
those.
it
They
was
write the
super cool.
insults on the hat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's in Tennessee. I
Is
think
it?
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
there's
there's a
one in
few.
Tennessee,
Yeah.
but when I was in Tennessee a couple years ago, there was one in there. It was just absolutely hilarious. Like it was like
Mhm.
right, but no, but like on a serious note though, like the uniqueness of a business, like you said, Nick, is so important. I'm
Yeah.
noticing more of these businesses downtown Port Huron are starting to kind of like shift towards that uniqueness and just put themselves out there.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter
Yeah.
if they're different. It doesn't matter if like this is something that the town hasn't seen in 20 years. Like they're gonna go for it. Like the Wrigley Center, Renaissance Man, like all of. And I was just talking to Nick. Shout out to Port Huron Asai. I was just talking to him literally before I came here. I got a bowl, and he's talking. He's showing me the renderings of their new building and what they're doing different. Like so, it's so important. And I want to kind of jump into like your aspect of like being different, especially for like JRK Productions. How do you kind of pair your own style, and how do you like pair your own style with the industry and
Yeah.
with their kind of speculations? What kind of makes your guys' company different from other content creation companies?
Yeah. I mean, I said in the beginning, like we say yes to stuff. So
Okay.
if you come with an idea, you know, nothing can't be shot
Yep.
within realm, right?
Yeah,
But
that's true.
but like nothing can't be done with the content, like anything that you can think of. Like we want to make sure we can try to like make that happen because we
Yeah.
grew up doing on that whole basis of like board sport mentality, like stupid stunts, things that are funny online. That's like the viral nature. Like humans want to be entertained,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the number one. And I think the number two is most of my style is pretty quick hitting.
Okay.
And so like I like to keep it fast and interesting, engaging, like a lot of vibrant colors. And I think that has lended well to the transition of the attention span of
Yeah,
people.
for sure.
Yeah, that is true.
It's crazy.
So we
Makes
focus
sense.
on that, but we also focus on quality. Like if you are not satisfied, like our job is not done until the video, like you're happy with the video.
That's important.
And some people are nitpicky, but we work through it and we want to
Oh,
make
yeah.
sure that like what we deliver is something that you like and you're satisfied with.
Oh, yeah.
Also with our experience and expertise in making it something that could go viral.
Mhm.
So that's the element of like the quick hitting, the colors, the trends.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's so important with today is the way
Yeah.
media is going today. It's-
Sometimes people don't want to do that though. Like they don't want to necessarily make the client like 100% happy because they have their own style.
Yeah.
So ego gets in the way.
Yeah.
A lot
We
of
were just
content
talking
creators
about
have that
that.
problem.
Yeah.
So
were
we
just
try to
talking
stay
about
away.
that Primal.
Oh, really? With
Yeah.
you too, or?
With Primal, we were just talking about like
Yeah.
that same topic. It's crazy. Like,
Right.
but-
While we're on that topic of just uniqueness overall, as an individual, you're pretty unique as well, right? Because you do all these different things. You
Thanks.
starting to do a little bit of DJ now. You're a podcaster. I've seen some stories. You're playing guitar.
Yeah, I
You're
am
doing all
learning
these other little
guitar.
health hacks things. So let's start just with DJing. So when did you start to get into that?
So I forget the beginning, but it was before COVID. So, at Michigan State, there was a tailgate
Okay.
that I was like super into like the idea of becoming a DJ because
Mm-hmm.
I wanted just like the culture of it where it's like fun. People are dancing.
Yeah.
right.
Not the
Yeah.
drug side at all. Like I don't do
Yeah,
drugs.
yeah,
I'm not for it. But that's a lot of the scene is like consumed
Yeah.
by that. But I'm more
Mhm.
of like you want to have people have a good experience, have a good time.
Mhm.
So I got into it, and this fraternity was having a 3-on-2, which was like each sorority and fraternity brought like 100 or 200 people. So there was 500 people at this house in the backyard,
Oh, wow.
and the DJ got sick, and we were supposed to open up for him,
Uh-huh.
but then they're like, no, like the DJ's not coming, like you guys are playing. So it was like my first set ever,
wow.
and like we were in front of 500 people, and it
That's
went
crazy.
like it was one of the best days of my life. But like it went over so well that I'm like in the energy you feel like you're in control of like people how
Oh,
they're
yeah.
the experience they're having.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
like
yeah.
they're having a good time because you played a song that they like, or they're having a bad time and they're leaving.
Mhm.
So like that
Yeah.
pressure is very interesting to me.
You like control the whole energy because
Yeah.
as like a wedding videographer, if there's a bad DJ there, it's
It
no
ruins
it,
point.
right?
Yeah, it's not good at all.
Yeah.
No, I can imagine what you're saying, like that, like there's tension, there's energy, like you're really controlling like the whole aspect of the party. So that's just so cool how that got started, especially at a sorority in front of 5 people. Like it's just
Mhm.
crazy.
And stuff like an art, you have to kind of read like people's energy, and you have to be kind of smart with it too. Because
Yeah.
even sometimes, like obviously they're not gonna be jumping the whole time up and down. Sometimes you gotta read that, maybe slow it
Yeah.
down just a bit.
Well, slow
then-
songs in there.
And like thankfully, because there was such a crowd, like everyone in like the 500 people were like coming in and out, right, and like
Yeah.
spread out,
Oh,
so you
yeah.
weren't like that targeted. Like a wedding
Okay.
with 20 people, like you
Yeah.
feel bad when you turn
Yeah.
on a bad
and a
song
big mix
and
of
people
like
leave.
age groups.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like some are like 60-year-olds. You're playing, you're
Yeah.
playing some wild stuff. But
So
Yeah.
that was like the start kind of like doing it in front of people. And then from there, like my friend and I, we went to Harper's at Michigan State,
okay,
Okay.
which like a lot of people know and love, right?
yeah, I've
Mhm.
seen that.
And we had asked them if we could DJ, and we were like the only girls that had DJ'd there. Nobody else had.
Mhm.
And it was so the owner was like, oh, that'd be cool to mix in some girls, whatever,
Mhm.
like thinking it'd be good for the set, right?
Yeah.
And we ended up getting a job there, so we were playing one night a week.
Oh wow.
And it was the best time because we were making a great, like we weren't making a living, but we were making money and like getting
Yeah.
drinks, getting food, and our friends would come, and it was on the patio. So we were
Oh, wow.
outside, and it was normally like in the fall, and then we ended up coming inside, and then that spring COVID hit.
Mm.
So
Okay.
that was like a damper on it, but I was still mixing at home, and I started making mixes like that were on SoundCloud.
Okay.
And so that kind of kept me in to mixing. And
Yeah.
then from there, I have played some sets at different places. And then once we came back to Michigan State, there was a lot of fun days
Mhm.
that we ended up getting a crowd like at the end before I graduated.
Mhm.
But it was like in the middle. But it was probably like a good sign for my path because I could see myself going down, like trying to get a management company and like becoming a professional DJ.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. So are you still doing like DJ work today? Like
Yeah, I
with
do.
your-
Yeah. I
Okay.
don't really do it commercialized. Like if it's the right gig,
Yeah, you just-
like
yeah.
I'll go do
Something
it. Yeah.
fun, right?
Yeah,
Something
that's
And like
switch it
friends and
up.
family if they have a certain event. But
Okay.
I love there's a new integration on the board I use on Rekordbox that you can
Mhm.
pull in SoundCloud without donating or downloading a record pool.
Okay.
Okay.
So you DJ, right?
No.
Okay. I thought one of you guys did.
No, I don't know nothing about
Okay.
DJ.
So you have to download all the music files, and like if you play on a CDJ, which is at like bars and clubs typically,
Okay.
it's like a big piece of equipment, and you
Mhm.
plug in a USB, and then it pulls up the tracks on it,
Oh,
so you
wow.
can play your own music from the piece of equipment from the one USB.
Okay.
But basically, Rekordbox just integrated SoundCloud to it, so you can look up any song.
Oh,
wow.
sweet.
So that's like the
That's
game
super cool.
changer.
Mhm.
Some other decks do it, but like used to do it before. But Rekordbox is one of the biggest like used ones.
So
So-
is there like different styles to DJ? Because I know some people like to do a little bit more like what's it called, like wordplay or whatever, like where you kind of finish off and then like the same words or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like they mix it like a little bit
Yeah.
of house, but like put in different music on top.
Yeah, and, or so yeah, where are like the different styles I guess of DJing are there? Because I know
Yeah.
like for videography, there's some people are like I guess for a look maybe more dark and moody, more light and airy.
Yeah.
Some are more like storytelling wise. Some are more like want to like in your face like
Punching,
hype,
like-
yeah, something like that. So
Yeah,
like for
it's
DJ.
funny because there is a total mix, and you can get some clowns sometimes when you like hire somebody and you don't know them on a whim, and then they just play like these EDM tracks, and like
Yeah.
the 70-year-olds they're like, what is like this
Yeah,
is not
literally.
good, right? But I love to stay in like 126 is beats per minute. That's
Okay.
typically like where people feel like they want to dance. So there is a science behind it.
okay.
And
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
now learning more about the keys and the chords.
Mhm.
But like some of the most well-known songs and well-liked songs are produced with certain chords in a certain key. So like Taylor Swift always plays these bright, like guitar players call it bright. And it's more like sing-songy chords, even if it's like a somber song.
Okay.
But like the human brain resonates with what you know, right? So if you hear Taylor Swift all the time, like you're going to resonate with those chords more often.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So there
true.
is a science behind it. I haven't gotten to that much and I want to.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do always stick with the 126 because that's where house music kind of has like originated. And that's like super like, it's easy to dance. Like you can feel the beat. It's not too slow, not too fast.
Yeah.
So I always play inside of that and then I'll go up and down. Normally I end up at like 130 but then I come back down. But
Okay.
I don't go into like super different stuff just
Yeah.
because I don't play enough.
for sure. Yeah.
If I was like
Just
known
wanna
and
do the
loved,
job.
I would feel like I could play whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
But
true.
like we
Yeah.
said, like you want to entertain the people that are there
Oh yeah.
So
I always love hopping on Instagram and seeing some of like the DJ accounts that
Yeah.
it's like, oh, watch this like crazy college party build up reaction, something like that. You know what I mean?
yeah, those have been going viral. I tried
Yeah,
to do it the other
crazy.
day and it was a flop. It was not good.
Mhm.
But like
Yeah,
people
man.
post their mixes right while they're mixing and then they dance to it and
Yeah.
then they create the trending audios from those.
Yeah, I've
Oh,
used
wow.
a couple. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're really cool.
That's super cool. And I think, and you were touching a little bit on like the science aspect too behind it. And I think, as we're talking all these subjects over you, it seems like you have a lot of knowledge behind the science of things.
I don't know.
And I mean,
Knowledge.
and like, no, but seriously, like, I like how you mentioned the science behind, like the DJing,
Yeah.
and then there's science, a lot of knowledge going behind marketing, and then, so I think this is kind of like a good time to transition towards like, and you were talking about like the mind and the body and feeling the dance moves. So what is like,
Just feeling it.
just feel the dance moves. So I want to jump over to like what Nick mentioned about the biohacks,
Yeah.
and kind of just as like a person in general, how important is that to you, and what have you learned behind that whole science of like like the biology of like the human body, and like what makes up humans, and how you can stay healthier mentally and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's super important and we hear more about it today because I think holistic medicine's kind of coming on the scene.
Yeah.
Like I totally believe in modern medicine. I'm not someone that's like one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
But a couple years ago, so like coming out of college, I was super depressed and like didn't
Okay.
understand, couldn't get like why this was happening. I was happy, like I was gainfully employed, great family, great friends. But I think there was like an element of physical fitness and health that was missing. Like I've always been an athlete growing up.
Okay.
And even in college, like I wasn't super athletic, but I would still like walk around a lot, ride my bike a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like once I graduated, there was less of a routine to do that stuff.
Okay.
And then like I think my diet was super bad, right? Like most people that go to college, like your diet is trash.
It's
Yeah.
like ramen.
Yeah.
Ramen,
So
hot
kind
dogs.
of it's been a slow progression, but like I found myself feeling so much better after I basically just started getting just somewhat of a routine working out. So like may that be whatever it is like good for other people, but like mine at that point was like 3 days a week ish.
Okay.
So like that's not even a routine, right? At that
No,
point.
yeah, I mean,
But like I was getting there. And then so that was like small progression and then I tore my ACL. So then I was like super mad because here I am like
Yeah, you were.
I could still work out, but like hypothetically you can't.
Yeah.
yeah.
And as that ended, like I had gained probably 20 pounds and I was like, I need to really come up with some reason or some way to like get past this so I can grow and feel better. Because it caused a lot of anxiety too. Like not just about my body image. I was less like, I didn't really care about that, but I had realized I gained weight.
Right.
And then I realized I like wasn't happy. Like I'm sitting here and I should be happy in these different environments, but I just didn't feel like happy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I wasn't grateful or anything. So I finally like went down to the science of it. I'm like, what am I eating? What am I doing?
Okay.
And I started seeing the sunlight in the morning, which like all these you guys know like the Huberman
Yeah.
people. So I started like waking up on a kind of a routine, like 7 a.m. I'm up by 7 and I see the sun, like, and I try to walk with no shoes on. So
Oh,
that's like
okay.
when
Grounding.
all my friends and family say
Yeah.
like it's so hippie.
I've heard a lot of good
I
stuff about
haven't
that.
tried that one yet.
Yeah.
I want to.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
you
like-
should. And honestly, like maybe it's a placebo and I'm fine with that. Like if
Yeah.
that's what needs to happen for me to like
Exactly.
feel better.
Oh yeah.
But they say it eliminates a lot of inflammation, which give or take, I just think it feels like it gives me more of like focus
Okay.
and a little bit of like clarity in my head. And then I've been walking a ton more. So like I used to probably walk a mile or less than a mile. Like if people check their phones,
Yeah,
like you don't walk.
You go like
No,
3,000 steps or
Yeah.
something, especially if you're just like a 9 to 5 office job type thing. Because you're sitting there most of the, even if you lift,
Yeah.
because what you're kinda
just walk around the
sitting
gym,
there, you're
right?
sitting
Yeah,
there,
literally.
Yeah, so you get like 3K, just doing your little walking around the house activities.
Yeah.
Nobody's going for a night walk after work. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I do now, but like,
I love walks.
yeah,
Like-
it's good for your mind. It's just good for your body in general. Like movement is medicine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I found that like the walking plus like those few, and I actually got an app on my phone that has like a checklist. I'm a super big checklist person. I'm like, put it on the list.
Yeah.
So I was checking off like waking up in the morning and like maybe I would only hit it 5 days a week.
Yep.
But I would set the standard. So, and keeping it simple, like having 10 standards. Okay, wake up at that time, see sunlight in the morning, go outside with no shoes on for a little bit, like play outside.
Yeah.
And then I was also like, I started doing red light therapy, which is really interesting. They call it photomutilation. I don't know how to say it. But that's like, it's photo something. And
Okay.
it basically targets cells and energizes them. So like something to do with the wavelength of the light goes in and like helps repair damaged tissue
Oh wow.
in your body. And that directly correlates to inflammation.
I
Okay.
might have to try that one out too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
super cool.
do you need like a special type of red light, or is it
So-
can you throw like a LED light in your room?
You're just
Be
gonna
like,
sit in
all
front of the
good.
stoplight.
I don't know. I don't think it's just an LED light. I think there's like panels that you can buy.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's all these funny memes, like people wear the face ones. Have you seen those? They plug them in.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And
Oh, I've
so
seen
it's
those.
it's been around for acne. Like people have used it for
Yeah,
like
I've seen them for acne.
10 years
yeah.
for acne. Like I used to go to a dermatologist in like middle school and I got it for acne once.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But so basically now I go to this place, Restore in Birmingham. That's where I live now. And they have it like a membership so you can come in and use it. And it's a panel
Oh,
and
wow.
you just stand and you just like absorb the light for 10 minutes. But it's the similar to that is like absorbing natural sunlight.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to have somewhere you go and pay to do this. Like just go outside,
Yeah.
get in the
Oh, yeah.
sunlight, you know,
Yeah.
get the vitamin D.
It really seems like so. It's overcomplicated. I feel like it's really just so simple, right?
Yeah.
Just go outside. Like, you're getting natural sunlight, and it's just so clear cut. I feel like
Yeah.
like it's Earth, right? You should be
Yeah.
outside doing something. You should be cooped up in your house on your phone all day.
We just want to take a quick break here. Want to thank Mark Bynum, the mortgage man, for allowing us to use this wonderful space inside of AmeriFirst Home Mortgage Building. Again, thank you, Mark. Anyone who is interested in any sort of home mortgage, make sure you contact Mark today for all your mortgage needs. I know I was just talking to you about with this, Nick. Is like my girlfriend and I, we were gonna do this challenge. We're like, okay, we're just like a 2-week challenge we're doing with another couple. Like, okay, we're not gonna go on social media or Instagram. And I was like, wait, that's like my
your
business.
business.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like it is so hard because like I want to do those things and I want to like I don't even need a challenge. Like I would just stay off of social media because it's just
Yeah.
sometimes it's nice to have a mental break, but at the same time it's like, you know, content creation and not even that, but just getting yourself out there and your like again your Instagram portfolio and keeping that up to date is so important that it's like I'm not sure if I could, you know, take that time off, which is unfortunate because, you know, you should be able to, you know, unplug and but yeah, it's just so hard because
The thing I hate about it is the algorithm. So like
yeah.
it's like hate the player, hate the game kind of thing because I didn't mind Instagram when it was like timeline based.
Yeah.
So like you can go on, you can catch up if you want. You don't
Mhm.
have to.
Yeah.
And like now you can schedule posts, which is nice. So if you're a business owner and you don't want to be on Instagram all the time, like you can schedule those posts, but you still need to interact and engage to have the algorithm boost your
Exactly.
account, right?
Yeah.
So I don't like the fact that it's driven and I get the structure. Like I understand the commercial structure, how they're running ads. So like if I get you to follow me on JRK Productions and you like my content, let's say, and you stay and watch the whole video and then the next swipe is an ad and you're engaged to your phone because like my video is captivating, that's money. They like me. They like my account. They push it.
Sense.
So like, but I get it. But like, I don't like how that's the driven, like the
Yeah.
factor.
I mean, yeah. So like the reason I asked just about the whole phone thing, well, because we were talking about like the biohacks and all that.
Yeah.
One of the things that Andrew Huberman, for those of you who don't know, is like this neuroscientist. I believe that's how it's called.
Yeah.
But just go look him up. You'll probably be more educated than you ever have been in your life
never
through
listened
all
to
your
him
years
before.
of school. You better do it, Chef.
I will, trust me.
Anyway,
I'm sleeping with it on.
one things he said is like, these, especially when you're working, having these little time blocks basically where you're like your phone's in another room. I think it's like 90 minutes or so. But even then, just I remember I saw somebody try as like a whole routine, and you're like, man, I don't feel productive. I still don't feel like good about myself or anything. And they weren't using their phone like during their work period, but they were when they could use like for breaks and everything like that. And they were still like constantly checking it, like even right when they got off work, like it was still in the back of their mind, right? Just the constant checking of it.
Yeah, like the impact
that
the
has on
small
your
impact that
brain
makes, yeah.
and how you're able to focus, right? Because
Oh, it
especially
was
for
the
you,
dopamine episode.
yeah, because especially for you when you're doing all these things, right? You have all these different businesses or whatever, all these things that you're kind of interested in doing. How much does just that in the back of your mind having to continuously check your phone or whatever? How
Oh,
much do
you have
think
to
that
train
can play?
yourself.
Yeah.
Like there's a certain level of discipline and I don't have it. Like I'm getting there,
Yeah.
but that's one of my main focuses. And I think what has helped a lot is like setting a goal and having a reason behind what you're doing.
Okay.
So like, and it could be smaller or it can be bigger. Like you can say, I want to finish this video, by tomorrow afternoon because I know I need to deliver for the client.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't, you don't have to think about the negative, but you just have to put a purpose on things.
Yeah.
And then it gives you purpose in your daily habits, right? Like even the smallest things like, oh, I want to do the laundry and get this done today because I don't want to leave a mess for my roommate.
Yeah.
Or like, I want to make sure I make dinner tonight so my boyfriend has a dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to like add reason to stuff. And
Yeah.
I think stuff like that where you're mindlessly checking, like,
Yeah.
why were you going on your phone? Are you trying to check your email? That's
Yeah.
okay if you are, but
Yeah.
what's the
Half-time-
reason,
and
right?
Halftime, I wonder, I don't know if there's an app for this or not, or if there's like a way you can check, but just like the act of just picking it up and like see how many times it like flashes on. I wonder.
It tells
per
you.
day.
It tells you in the
does-
settings.
Yeah, I figured.
Really?
Yeah, mine's
Like how
probably-
many pickups they call it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that-
mine's probably a lot.
just because I'll be like you said, just mindlessly scrolling, mindlessly checking. You're not even. There's no purpose behind it. Like it's
Yeah.
just an addiction. It's like
yeah.
muscle memory almost. Like I feel like it's a issue where you like your thumb can just like know automatically like this is where Instagram app is.
Yeah.
This is where my Facebook app is. Everything
yeah.
like that. You know what I mean?
No, it's bad. And it's something that we have to change. And I think giving yourself mindfulness in other aspects, like help you get back to that.
Mhm.
So like I recommend for anybody, and my friends will call me hippies sometimes,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but like practicing your breath, like your breath work.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, like
that's huge.
meditation.
So breathing.
Breathing is
I was
huge.
looking at, so I had a Whoop band, one of those fitness bands,
Yeah.
like an Apple Watch, and they tell you your HRV, which is like your heart rate variability.
Okay.
So it's how your heart reacts to stress. Medicine
wow.
people correct me.
Okay.
But so like it's in a realm of like the beats, like when you exercise or when you drink alcohol.
Mhm.
So it's like a stress indicator. So basically mine was pretty low and it gave you suggestions how to fix it. And one of
Okay.
them was doing this breath work where you take a deep breath in through your nose and then you cap it off. So like if you think that's 80% of my lungs,
Oh yeah.
take
yeah, I saw
another
that.
short breath
Mhm.
and then you
Okay.
sigh, like you release it all. But like you think about your body releasing everything at once, like just like a dramatic like movie
Yeah,
sigh,
yeah.
right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I did that for a minute a day for 2 weeks. My variability score increased by like 30 points, which was like almost double,
Oh my
Mhm.
god.
like almost 100% increase. And it was just from, because those are people that make this as like medicine based.
Yeah.
I know some people hate like the statistics of it, but
Mhm.
this has like doing stuff like that has realized like how much you control your own body.
Oh yeah.
People forget that, right? They're like, you feel sick, but if you can coach yourself through it, you know, half of it's mind over matter. And I think half of it is telling yourself like, I'm okay, I'm going to heal, you know, let's do these small things to feel better.
Yeah. And I think the small things are so important. And I think it's something that I'm guilty of ignoring
Yeah.
because I'm the type of person where I'm like, okay, I'm kind of like go big or go home. So if it's not something that's like I'm doing like this huge, like I have the tendency to where like if I'm making a plan for something, like I'm making like a full out like
Yeah.
it's like all day thing. Like I'm doing this.
You're doing the whiteboards. And
Oh
shit.
yeah,
You're
like that, like, and so like I think I need to get better at taking into account the small things like the breathing and like those things you were mentioning, because I think the small things can actually go a long way and you don't really realize it when you're doing it, but like you said, it increased your I think it's HRV,
Yeah.
you said, by 30 points. And so just the small things, and I know I'm guilty of that, so that's obviously a great point, just taking into account those things. And it's something that
And I think even when we know, sometimes people we're so stubborn, right?
Yeah.
People will
Mhm.
see like I've noticed when I'm like not on my phone, let's say before bed, or just away from screens or light before bed, I will have like way better sleep.
Oh, really?
Mhm. Yeah.
And obviously sleep's like probably the biggest
Yeah.
thing when it comes to your energy levels and all
Yeah.
that. So yeah, just back to what I was saying.
I'm
We're so
obsessed with sleep too. Like
yeah,
I will
Mhm.
change my routine in the morning to get an extra 2 hours of sleep. If I don't get 8 hours, I
Yeah.
feel like I'm shot.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
even if I get 7, like I still don't feel good enough. But if I get 9 or 10, like I will say it here. I try to get like 9 or 10 hours of sleep a
Mhm.
night.
Yeah,
Do you
that's good though.
Do you still wear like the Whoop or any like sleep
So
tracker?
I don't wear it because I lost my charger, which is like ridiculous, but I haven't got a new one yet.
Oh,
So I
okay.
haven't worn it lately, but I do like just wearing it for 3 months gave me so much, it's like a lot of insights. So I
Yeah.
kind of came up with that to-do list. Like I said, you know, seeing sunlight, walking barefoot, drinking water in the morning, waking up on a routine. And then the other ones were like trying to limit sugar and then trying
Okay.
to limit seed oils.
Yeah,
I
a
know
big
that's like a
one.
hot topic,
Cetos are a huge topic
but
right now.
like after I actually paid attention to it, it was ridiculous. Like it's the
Mhm.
number 2 ingredient in most of the foods I was eating before.
Mhm.
Or like I would eat at a restaurant and I went to the bathroom one time and I saw the stack, like the stocked pile
Oh yeah,
of seed oils. Like
crazy.
it's like canola oil, sunflower.
Oh my
and people
gosh.
claim there's like healthy oils,
Uh-huh.
unless it's like virgin olive oil off my roommate's like Lebanese farm. Like you're not
Yeah.
getting like,
yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
You know.
When I'm cooking, I just try to stay away from them.
Yeah.
I'll use a little bit of spray, even that stuff's like messed, but at least it's not
Yeah.
like a whole, like it's crazy. When you were like younger, you probably think of this too, or like maybe not for much of you, like your family or whatever, or your family maybe not, but I just remember like seeing my mom just like pour a bunch of oil in a pan, right? Just to cook
Yeah.
one thing, and you're like, you start thinking to yourself, and you're like now older, you're like, Dude, that was
That
like,
can't be
for
good.
one, calorie wise, it's like 500 extra calories for a
Yeah.
meal just from a seed oil or something, right? And just the overall health,
Yeah, it's crazy
bad
how
parts
it
for your health
impacts
is
you.
terrible for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people
Um,
are just coming to the light. I also like, I'm very into like big pharma theories and stuff and just
Okay.
questioning like typical hierarchies of systems.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot to be said about like who's funding what.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that they came out with this campaign like in the 70s for heart healthy oil, and then if you look at actual heart disease charts of like what has spiked and what has changed, like
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy the increases and stuff. And I'm not
Yeah.
like one because I don't have a science background. Like I don't really talk about actual statistics, or I don't push like my theories,
Mm-hmm.
but I do implement them and I think it works. Like I feel a lot better, a lot more level headed by doing like what I had mentioned to you guys and like avoiding seed oils. Like I just feel better like
Oh,
in my
yeah.
body, you know?
I think it's so important because I've noticed, and especially like, I mean, and this is no take on that. I mean, this was just because I obviously just went through my first year of college at
Yeah.
art school, and it was just a huge culture shock to me. Like, just kind of being in, there's some pros and cons I feel like personally to being kind of engulfed in that like art community, because I became so hyper focused that like I started to kind of lose track of like myself. And so I was so hyper focused on like the art community and becoming a better photographer, and like you can really start to like not take care of yourself like mentally. So like I was staying up late, like working on projects, like not getting enough sleep, and like it started to take a toll on me mentally. So I think the like making sure to put yourself before your business, like not to make that sound selfish, but like your mental health is
Yeah.
so important, because if
Yeah.
you're not able to run your business, then how's your business going to grow?
Yeah.
So like it's something that I've been really trying to take more pride in, and
That's a
I'm
great
glad we
point.
kind of talked on that. It's
And it
just, like,
helps you like if your glass isn't full, you can't help others.
exactly.
And I'm not one to say that everybody has an issue. Like there are tons of people in this world that have no issue, but everybody can always be a little bit better.
Oh yeah.
Right. And I think also too, if you tell yourself you want to be better in certain areas, you have to make sure you're at your prime to do that.
Exactly.
Sometimes those stress helps in a
Oh,
good
yeah.
way if you can channel it. So I'm not saying never to be stressed. I just mean put yourself in an optimal position to be the most stressed you could be.
Exactly.
Right.
You can still push yourself, but
Yeah.
make sure you know
Yeah.
when you're at your best. Like,
Yeah.
It's hard finding that balance of, let's say, for working on maybe it's a school project or just in our businesses in general, of like, especially for sleep, like that
yeah.
kind of grind, like that grinder mentality.
Yeah.
And then like you also want to get your 8 hours, but you also maybe you finish up at like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. on a project that's like you gotta get done tomorrow.
Yeah.
But you also wake up at like 7 a.m. right? Because
Yeah.
I'm a person, I can't wake up. If I wake up past like 8 or so, I just feel like crap the whole day.
Yeah.
Like it's just a mental thing. I feel like for me,
Yeah. No, it's
caffeine.
hard to-
Caffeine helps too.
Yeah, always. Caffeine always helps, right? I've been doing this thing. So like there's adenosine is the same receptor that like it's the sleepy hormone that comes off the same receptor that caffeine attaches to.
Okay.
Again, medical community, correct me if I'm wrong. But so when you wake up, like women typically more than men have higher elevations of cortisol levels, like stress hormones in their body.
Okay.
But men do too, because you're meant to wake up. So basically this sleepy hormone comes off plus your stress from the cortisol. So if you kind of get the cortisol out of your system and get the sleepy hormone out of your system, then these receptors are open for caffeine to attach to. So when the caffeine wears off 6 hours later, think you had a cup of coffee at 7 a.m. when you woke up. What's 6 hours, 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock?
Mm-hmm.
You can tend to get tired because the caffeine's wear off. And now the adenosine is falling off too, because there was some trapped underneath the caffeine.
Yeah.
So then you feel sleepy because it's releasing like this sleepy hormone. But if you get up and like jump rope for 15 minutes or you go on a walk, you're releasing that hormone totally. And then the caffeine just attaches to the receptor. And then when it dissipates, there's nothing else there.
Oh, wow.
So you feel less sleepy. And I've been doing that. So I'll wake up and I'll go to the gym in the morning, and then I'll have my coffee like 2 hours after I wake up.
Yeah.
I don't get groggy in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's super cool to like, because I mean, it's true. People always say like you feel better if you get a morning workout in, but
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of just nailed it on the head. Like it's true once you, and the science behind that is so interesting. Like I would have never known.
I
like,
know it's like
those-
kind of geeky. I'm probably like someone's gonna come on here and correct me,
no,
but like
it's true though.
I've heard it and it works, and I tried it, and like I said, maybe it's a placebo, but like whatever works for you, you have to do. You
Exactly.
can't feel like you're crazy because people will make fun. Like so many people make fun of me for it.
Yeah,
I get that.
But it's awesome because I like don't care. I'm like,
No,
it
yeah.
feels good, so you guys should do it too.
as long as you feel good.
I get ragging my mom so much. Like if
Yeah.
there's one, I'll like go through a cupboard. It's like a seed oil thing or something.
Oh really?
Rag on her for it.
Yeah.
I actually have like some of my family in general, just because I pay more attention to what I eat. I've kind of like got them to pay a little bit more attention. So that's like a plus of it though. Just
That's
be able
cool.
to like get your friends onto it or whatever.
We've been doing a
Um,
walking challenge with my family. So
Oh wow.
that's
like
cool.
I've grown up with a huge extended family, which is awesome, and most of them are local.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a big group chat, and we're like, it's a $10 buy-in, and you get a point if you walk 2 miles a day, and you get 2 points if you walk 4.
Oh, shoot.
Oh wow.
And it's
That's
just
a good idea.
whatever's on your phone. So
Yeah.
like whatever's aggregated on your phone, it tells you in your health app. You don't have to do anything.
Somebody,
That's super
Somebody
cool.
tapes their phone like their dog or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
It's just like at like 20 miles. Like where did you go today?
Yeah.
Went
No,
for,
that's
went
super
for a
cool.
run, you know.
Yeah.
ran a little marathon,
Yeah.
but
Something
Yeah.
slight. No, but
But that community aspect helps. So like it was fun.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
it made us all do it way
sure.
more because you like have people that you're not reporting to, but we would mention, oh, I got this today.
yeah,
You
and
know?
it's somewhat like a challenge. Like
Yeah.
you're kind of competing, but like it's still fun at the same time.
Yeah.
So,
I was gonna say, just from a competition standpoint, even like if you were just doing it with like your friends, maybe it's like your friends that you grew up with in sports or something, get that
Yeah.
little like competition
Oh, yeah.
idea back. That can help a ton.
oh, there's always room. I feel like for healthy competition. Like
Yeah.
you don't let it get to the point where it's like you're degrading both of you at the same time. But like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's still always nice competitions to push yourself. And no, but I wanted to kind of, we've talked about a lot of stuff. I mean, we've talked about a lot of your background as a creative, the biohack stuff, the DJ, and like there's a lot of stuff to kind of unpack. But just for the viewers out there, like, what are you kind of working on like currently, like with your production, with like kind of bringing it back into like your production
Yeah.
program? Like, what are you guys working on right now? Like with companies and stuff like that.
Yeah. So like I typically preach online, we focus on short form content.
Mm-hmm.
We do long form if it's a good story to tell, but like
Okay.
the attention span and where eyes are at for businesses, like to really succeed, we find to be short form.
Okay.
So we do those short, typically they're like Instagram reels, Facebook reels, and they're just short, hard hitting pieces that are like interesting. You're like, oh wow, that's quick, it's loud,
Yeah.
it's fun. But as like a business for me, I'm really focusing on that scaling aspect.
Okay.
So I work with 2 editors right now, and they're great, and they've been super helpful to help me like get to the next level and have that capacity for business. But yeah, I set certain goals and I say I want to get this many new clients, but like we talked about, there's a lot of moving pieces.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just trying to like keep all the balls in the air and keep going because that's, I know it's going to take a little bit of work in the beginning, but
Oh yeah.
it's been so refreshing and so worth it to like be able to make time for the things in my life that I want to make time for. And
sure.
then
That's
like
so key.
going the extra mile when I have the free time, maybe it's an evening or maybe it's like a late night or a weekend,
Mhm.
but like to do that and then be able to take like the afternoon off and go see my grandma or like hang out with my
Yeah.
parents.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. That's been awesome.
Another thing I was gonna go.
No, you go for it.
All right. Well, just speaking of things that you have time for, like while we got like 10 minutes so left, 20 minutes, but one of the things that you do other than your DJ and the production company, but you started a podcast.
Oh, I
Right.
did. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We touched
Yeah.
on
My
that,
friend
yeah.
and I, her name's Goose. It's her last name.
Oh,
but
okay.
she's hilarious. So
Yeah.
she's the star of the show, but we talk like this if it's just you and I, and we just sit across from each other.
Yeah.
And we weren't really friends before. I just had knew her.
Mhm.
And I was starting a podcast because I figured that I needed to excel in like different forms of media to go and have clients in different forms. Like I can't do this and have not done it
Mhm.
and successfully done it. So I figured it's going to take some time.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I need to start a podcast. So I came up with some ideas, started a couple of shows, didn't really work. And then I was like, I need someone else to bear like the weight of this because you
Mhm.
guys know it's hard to put yourself out here week after week,
Yeah.
show up
Yeah.
happy to talk and like
Mhm.
interesting and
Yeah.
try to come up with stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
So it's fun to have someone to lean on. So I
yeah.
called her. She's super she's very interesting and she's very entertaining. Like she just says funny stuff.
Yeah.
So her and I
I've
banter.
seen- yeah.
I
Seen
know,
some of the
right?
clips.
She's hilarious. So it's called Two Nice Girls Talking because we
Okay.
said TOO because we're like overly nice sometimes in situations where we like should be more upfront. But
Yeah, I struggle with that too.
and we thought people
terrible
can
with that.
relate because we figured we would highlight in our 20s because it's such a weird time. Like some of our friends are married with 2 kids and like some of them are like in Mexico on a study abroad.
Yeah, that's true.
Like people do so many different things in their 20s and it's really a time to like try very crazy things and fail.
Yeah.
Because when else are you going to do it, right?
Yeah, that's
so
true.
we're like, we need to highlight, and a lot of it is her relationships.
Okay.
Because they're like funny old stories. Or she'll go like she went on a surprise date this last episode.
Oh, really?
Saw clips.
So I brought our friend Dakota on, and like it was just funny because she's like down for anything. But there's like a big highlight difference because I've been with my boyfriend for almost 4 years now, and like she's been not dating like a ton of people, but she'll go on these like hilarious dates.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's super cool. I mean, I think it's nice to kind of have that like comedic aspect to it too.
Yeah.
Like it's not too serious where it's like, and that's kind of what we're trying to do too is like, yeah, we're talking about like business tips and like, you know,
Just getting to know,
entrepreneurs, but we also want to get to know you as a person and like keep it somewhat like comedic. I'm not like comedic or anything, but
no, but that's
I
cool
mean,
to keep it light so people. It's like the same thing of the trust thing. Like you have to know somebody.
Right.
Yeah,
We just want people to like know more about this person, right? Not so much about, let's say, I don't know, for Primal, let's say, or something like that. We don't want people just to know about Primal Media.
Yeah.
We do this and that. We tried to go more into like each person, right? How they met, how they did all this, or how they kind of go about their operations, and how they're just like kind of met as friends and things like that. What they do outside of Primal, you know what I mean? So it's more just kind of getting like I hate saying this, like deeper dive.
Yeah, I always say that.
I hate saying it, but
once you know more about, like say for example Primal, like once you know about more about each of those individuals, you maybe like, okay, we might have something in common, or I like the way they think, or I like their style, like then you're more drawn to their company as a whole, whether if you just like, okay, you know, this is our company, this is what we do. Like if you actually get to know the person, it's like same thing we were talking about earlier, knowing your client, knowing your customer, like it's all tied into that thing. And so no, but I think just, you know, the podcast you have going obviously is you know, it's funny, it's interesting, and I think it's
thanks. Our real goal with it is to do like to potentially get advertisers, and then to like do not bits with it, but like we want to make it more interesting than just us talking. But we wanted to get the foundation of people knowing us,
right?
So we're like, we got to get our story kind of out, have them be engaged with our personality. It's kind of like watching a TV show, and you're not bought into the characters until like the 3rd episode, right?
Yeah, that's a good.
But once you get to the 6th episode of like an hour episode show, you're kind of like, I really like that one. Like you care about them.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you think it's important just for, I feel like not everybody should start a podcast, but just in general, like,
everyone has been. I'm like, dude.
But I feel like it's just a nice like outlet almost, just for something.
Yeah.
It could just be about, you could literally talk about anything. You can talk about your favorite hobby, whatever. So do you think it's important for people maybe just to try it? See if they like good at it?
I mean, try anything.
Yeah.
Like not anything, but like anything, right?
Mostly.
I think
don't do drugs, kids.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes.
I think a lot of it is like people speaking their truth, and I think sometimes you don't. That's so dramatic. You speak your truth, but like,
no, I mean,
people don't have an avenue to do that sometimes because we get so familiar with our family and our friends that like you don't go the extra mile to say what's really on your mind sometimes.
Exactly.
Even if it's like positive, just because I don't know if there's like an embarrassment factor, but we've all created ourselves to be like this perfect person, and you want to please everyone around you, and you don't really know, like you have an expectation of what they're gonna say and what you're gonna say.
True.
Because you know them so well.
Yeah.
That's why I love talking to strangers. Like I'll go if I travel. I love traveling at the airport. You're like, what's going on with you today? Like,
I have noticed that just in what are we 3 episodes deep? It's just I have this like I don't care mentality anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm just more like, this is me, right?
Oh yeah.
Because
like,
you have to feel like that.
It.
Yeah.
You're
you
putting
have to
yourself
put on the
online to these people, and
exactly.
It's all raw. Like I'm not gonna go through and edit an hour-long podcast for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, chopping it up to like that.
To
Obviously
make it
for
perfect.
clips I will, but
no, yeah, and I think that's just the aspect again. Like everything ties into like being yourself and being, especially as a creative and a business owner, like putting yourself out there and just being natural. Like, and I kind of attest to the same thing you were talking about too, Nick. Is just as we're doing more of these episodes, it's kind of just nice to be able to have that avenue of like sit back, relax, and talk about things that are actually interesting and things you've actually wanted to talk about, but you've never had the avenue to do it. And so it's cool, and I'm super excited where we're going, and we're also super excited to see where you're going also, Jenna. And they're just like, I think the community overall and what I've noticed more about the creative community in Port Huron is like, I think that's what our goal is too, just to make it more cohesive.
Yeah.
Like I know the art community as a whole is like sometimes it can get very like dispersed and people can kind of go down there, do their own things. But I would really love for it to become more coherent and for people, especially around the Port Huron area, just to work together as a community. Because I mean, it's just so nice to once you see that come together.
And thanks. And I'm proud of you guys like for doing this. That's a big step. Like the fact that you're 2 years out of high school and you're taking the leap to like put yourself out there and invite people on. Like we had never met before now. Yeah. Like familiar faces. Right.
Right.
But you guys reached out and you launched and stuff. That's like a huge accolade. So like,
we appreciate it.
Yeah. Props to you guys.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, so I think that's just gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
Woo.
That's episode. Actually, one thing I did want to mention, you mentioned like the whole creative community aspect, right? That was big for like creators. I forgot exactly what you said, but
just like like being cohesive as a creative community.
Yeah, I just had this wild idea like a week ago. It just kind of popped in the back of my mind, just doing some type of like, I don't know what it would be, like some type of creator meetup where we all just kind of like, it could be like me, you, Logan, who else is around here? Jowett,
Primal.
Yeah, Primal, Josh Myers, anybody like creative, right?
Yeah.
Just do some type of like, not meetup, you know what I mean? Just some like
that'd be cool,
project,
though.
some project
Oh, that'd
together,
be
maybe
cool.
for the city, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that, but
That'd be sweet.
I think that's gonna do it. Hopefully we can get something like that going pretty soon here.
We'll keep that. We'll put that on the list.
We'll get some interns from high school.
yeah. Seriously, be like, hey, we're hiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that'll do it. Thank you, Jenna, again for coming on.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
It
It was awesome.
today. Guys, that'll do it for episode 4 of the Talk of the Town podcast. Hope to see you for episode 5.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Peace out.